It says Sharei Teshuvah. So now you want to do Teshuvah, right? We were talking about being humble. The next principle is Letipa Allah bedavar zada alav. Do good deeds with the very matter which with you sinned. Okay? So meaning, if a person did a sin, he should try to do a good deed that directly corresponds to that sin that he did. For example, Islakel ba'arayot, let's say a person gazed at women who are prohibited to him, right? So then what should he do now? Yitnaheg besichat enayim. He should go and cast his eyes downwards. He walk in the street, how? Looking at the floor. He shouldn't look around, right? That's called doing teshuvah. Im chata b'lashon hara, if he sinned by speaking slander about other people, ya'asuk b'torah, he should go and use his mouth to engage in Torah. So whatever you did a sin with, now you use it for mitzvah. B'chol ha'evarim shechata yishadel likayem be'em mitzvot. That way you should try to do mitzvot with every limb that a person did a sin with. As it says in Shemot Rabbah in the Midrash, tzadikim b'oto davar shechatin bo mitratzin. Righteous people, whatever they used for a sin, they use it to try to strive to find favor with Hashem, right? The Zohar says that every one of the 365 sinews corresponds to the 365 negative commandments, and the 248 limbs in a person's body corresponds to the 248 mitzvot, the positive commandments. And the Zohar says that whenever you do a sin or not do a mitzvah, so now that limb or that sinew, since it's spiritually lacking, so now physically it's lacking as well. So therefore, whenever somebody gets sick, it really has to do with the sin that they did, whether it be now or whether it be some previous reincarnation. But the point is that the righteous people, they want to do a mitzvah with that limb in order to give it back its life force, its spiritual life force, because then it will be fixed, it will be healed. Because otherwise, then it's going to be lacking, it's going to be damaged. Right? The famous stories about Rav Chaim Kanievsky, Alav Shalom, where the guy told him, Rabbi, I have a pain in my leg. He said, go learn Ketzad HaRegel. Go learn the Mishnayot in Baba Kama that talk about damaging animals with their legs, the animals that damage the product with their legs. Or the guy had a kidney stone. He said, go study Even Ezer. Go learn the supporting stone volume of Shulchan Aruch, which is talking about the laws of marriage. It's called the supporting stone. So I see that spiritually they correspond to each other, so therefore they'll fix each other. Imasita chavilot shel ma'averot, Midrash Vayikra Rabbah also says, if you committed bundles of sins, aseh kenegdan chavilot shel mitzvot. Go and perform bundles and bundles of mitzvot to counteract them. Right? As the sages said also in Midrash, if you used to use your legs to run to evil, now use them for mitzvah matters. There was a guy who told me, right, we were at a siyum, and there was nice music and everybody was dancing. He's like, yeah, now I do teshuvah for this, that I went to those places I'm not supposed to, the bar and the club and all that stuff. Now I'm dancing in the siyum, and this is teshuvah. Now I'm doing it for mitzvah. So that's his concept, right? So he says that let's say a person he spoke slander, so now he has to speak words of Torah. He spilled innocent blood. Now he has to open his hands to the poor brethren to give them life force. The person had haughty eyes, so then he should look downwards and be humble, and so on and so forth. And let's say a person made fights between the people. He stirred the pot. So now he has to go and pursue peace. He has to go and make peace between people. So all these situations, a person can find the opposite in order to do teshuvah. Number 11, the 11th principle, chipus derachav, searching one's ways. What does that mean? It means that a person should take note and review his deeds. You never know how much money you're making or you're losing if you don't count the register at the end of the day, right? So we have to take an accounting. People get accountants for their taxes. So you have to make an accountant for yourself, for your sins, for review your deeds. The Rizal says, every night before you go to sleep, you're supposed to really sit and contemplate. Who did I wrong today? And who wronged me? And if I did wrong them, I forgive them. I hope they forgive me. And which mitzvah did I do good today? Which mitzvah did I mess up today? How do I fix that in the future? Well, what did I say wrong today? What did I eat wrong today? What did I do wrong today? What did I do right? What should I be proud about? What test did I really push myself and I overcame? All these things the person is supposed to make an accountant for, and that way each day builds off the other. Because if you're just, going through the motions, not knowing what you're accomplishing, there's probably a lot of lack of productivity. There's a lot of optimization that you could have installed and utilized, and you could have been a better version of yourself much faster. And you're going to be lacking. You're going to be behind. The main focus on doing this accounting is that so you should remember the sins that you committed and be able to do teshuvah for them and do vidui. If you don't know what sins you did, you don't know what to do teshuvah for, right? The guy came in the month of El to the rabbi. Rabbi, what do I have to do teshuvah? I don't know what I have to do teshuvah for. He says, you have to do teshuvah for this, and you don't know what you have to do teshuvah for. How do you not know what you have to do teshuvah for? Kaham, let me show you. Let me explain to you a lot of things you have to do teshuvah for, right? So Esheni, and the second one is, so he'll know many intentional, unintentional sins he has, and as a result, he'll humble himself more. And the third one is that when he does teshuvah, he'll accept upon himself to abandon every possible sin. And if he doesn't know what possible sin he could fall into, so then by not doing an accounting, so therefore he might fall into it later. So you got to make self safeguards, right? Let's say a guy, he says, I end up wasting so much time on my phone. I realize, I look at my screen time. Look how much time I spend. 7 hours, 8 hours I'm on my phone, and it says WhatsApp 4 hours, YouTube 5 hours, this, that, games, bubble game, bubble pop, and racing track. He's spending hours and hours. So what is this? Why so many hours? But if imagine he didn't do an accounting, he would go like this for years. He wouldn't realize how much time he's wasting. But now he does an accounting. He realizes, whoa, why did you waste so much time? And what did he do? And then I tell the rabbi, why don't you come to the class? Oh, I don't have time. You tell your wife, can you help me? I don't have time. But look how many hours you have for Bubble Pop, and look how many hours you have for YouTube and WhatsApp. You have a lot of hours, right? It's work, it's this, it's that. So if a person makes a real accounting of himself, you'll see that you have a lot of time. Right? There was a guy who came to Rosh Salanter. He said, Rabbi, I only have 5 minutes a day. What should I study? Halacha, Chomish, Musar. What should I learn? You should learn self-improvement, Musar. He says, why? He says, what about Halacha? What about Chumash? What about this? He says, once you learn 5 minutes Musar, you'll understand that you have way more than 5 minutes in your day. You'll start realizing you have more time to learn, and you'll end up learning even more. You'll be able to have time to learn other subjects also. But it starts with first making self-improvement and accounting for yourself, and then you realize how to become optimized and spend your time better. In New York especially, the commodity is not so much money. Commodity today in New York is time. People really calculate, is it worth my time? And they're trying to be on time. And in New York, there's so many things to do. The problem is there's no time to do it all. And the question is, you have to choose, make priorities. What should I use my time with? What should I spend my time doing? Because the possibilities are endless. So therefore, people have to, in New York especially, have to know how to manage their time and optimize their time, get the most bang for their buck and their time, spiritually speaking, physically speaking. So therefore, without an accounting, that's not going to happen. If you don't realize where your time is going, it's like you don't know where your money's going, and you're going to be always empty. So therefore, a person has to make sure that he knows what he's doing in his hours. He says, and that way he can protect himself, guard himself. And so this guy who spends so much on the phone, maybe he should install some sort of reminder or some sort of safeguard to protect himself from binging hours on end. Number 12 is examining your ways. So accounting, you should know what you're doing. And then examining your ways and investigating the severity and the details of what you're doing. Meaning, once you know what you're failing in, now you're going to go one by one and say, why am I failing in this one? And what's my problem? If I don't value this mitzvah and I'm not keeping it, now I have to learn about it and say, why is this mitzvah important? A guy who doesn't know why Lashon Hara is terrible and the punishments of Lashon Hara and the consequences of Lashon Hara and how bad it is for society. So if he doesn't know these things, he's never going to push himself to not speak Lashon Hara. So therefore, if you see that Lashon Hara is a constant sin you're doing in your accounting, so then now you'll examine your ways and say, so why am I speaking Lashon Hara? I have this inferiority complex. I think I have to make myself look like and feel like better than other people, so I have to put other people down. Or, why I speak Lashon Hara? Because my family always speaks Lashon Hara, and that's a bad habit I picked up, and therefore I have to get rid of it, and I'll study what the sages say about Lashon Hara, how bad it is, and then it will help me stop, and that's all part of examining one's ways. Ve'ezeh chayuvei kiritut, ve'ezeh chayuvei mitub bedin, You should learn about the punishments of each of the sins, and the consequences and why they're not good, and that'll help you overcome it. You'll be always afraid to go and do the sins again, and then you'll realize which ones are the more severe, and that way you'll be able to do the teshuva. As it says, see your pathway in the valley, recognize what you have done. The valley is a place usually people sin. So the prophet is telling him, look what you did in the valley, look what you did, the sins you did. Go and realize what you've done. Why did you do what you do? Why did you do what you did? Probably you didn't even realize what you did. Once you realize, you'll stop doing it. Baruch Amen.